Food storage is an investment in the safety and security of your family. It could be job loss. It could be pandemic. It could be natural disaster. It could be social unrest. Anything that would keep you or deprive your family from food, if you have a food supply on hand, then you can rest assured that things are going to be okay. Just like we put aside money for rainy days, food storage can bridge the gap, especially in this day when food costs are continuing to rise. As we store food on today's dollars, we're actually making money tomorrow by storing food at today's dollars. So when we begin to take a look at that, let's talk about all the different kinds of food storage, because the number one go-to when we talk about food storage in the prepper community is normally 5-gallon buckets full of dried goods. And that is a great place to start, but it's not the only form of food storage. I want to talk to you about bulk storage as well as individual storage in this video. So what I have right here in front of me is I have a 5-gallon bucket filled with rice. Just plain white rice. Now, there's about 30 pounds of rice right here in this bucket. That's about what you can get in a 5-gallon bucket. When we talk about food storage, it's important that we understand why we do the things we do so that we don't take shortcuts and we don't miss a much needed component in the food storage system. So here's a Mylar bag. The Mylar bag is inside a 5-gallon bucket. What does the Mylar do? The Mylar protects the food from moisture and from atmospheric conditions, protects it from oxygen and bugs and parasites and all of those kind of things. The 5-gallon bucket protects it from what I call chewing things. Mice and rodents, they have to chew through that bucket in order to get into your food, and that makes it much harder for them to access the food that's contained on the inside. Now, if you're using Mylar inside your 5-gallon bucket, your bucket doesn't need to be a food-grade bucket because the food never touches the actual bucket. It's inside the Mylar. The better the Mylar, the better. The best product I found on the market is Wallaby. They have tremendously tough bags. They're thick. They're very well made. A lot of Mylar is just so flimsy that you can even tear them while you're putting this food in it in the storage preparation. But with these Wallaby bags, they're tough. They're secure. They're thick. They're made from great components, and they have some added advantages. So when we get ready to store our food, the first thing we're going to do is add diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth is going to fend off those bugs and any unhatched larva that's inside your food as it's packed. If it hatches, you don't want to find that out in 10 years when you need the food to provide for your family. So you're going to add 1 cup of diatomaceous earth. 1 cup of diatomaceous earth for every 5-gallon bucket of food. Why 1 cup? Because that's enough to be able to control the components on the inside of the bucket, to be able to protect those components. And then I just stir it around with my hand. Then what we're going to do is we're going to roll our bucket back up. Or we're going to roll our Mylar back up just like this. So we're going to flatten it out. And now here's the thing about Wallaby bags. Wallaby bags have a Ziploc enclosure that does some great things for convenience, and it actually will save you some money. With a Mylar bag that has Ziploc plus heat seal, they have Ziploc plus heat seal. What we're going to be able to do is Ziploc this bag and then heat seal it. But once it's time to start using the product on the inside, you're going to be able to Ziploc that to further protect it again from the components and the elements in the atmosphere. A lot of preppers talk about gamma lids, and gamma lids are great. It used to be my go-to for resealing, but gamma lids are expensive. It often at least doubles the cost of your bucket. But when you have your Mylar bags when you buy your Mylar bags and they actually have Ziploc reseals, you don't need the gamma bag because you can use the Ziploc to reseal the bag to protect your components. So now what we're going to do with these Wallaby bags is we're going to just simply we're going to close the Ziploc enclosure, snap it closed, do that. Then we're going to use the corner that we have open. We're going to drop in our oxygen absorber. We're going to finish sealing it, and then with just a normal straightening iron. If your wife has a straightening iron, you're going to be able to just seal across the top, and then when you mash the air out before you seal it, then you're just going to stuff it down. You're going to put the top on your bucket, and now you have your long-term food ready to go. 30 pounds of rice. Now let me give you just a little more insight on organization that we use. Our organizational system is color-coded. So any white bucket contains rice. Any blue bucket contains beans. Yellow buckets are corn or cornmeal. Red buckets are wheat or flour. Green buckets are quinoa or any other dried good outside of rice and or beans. Then black is always medical, and orange is going to be salt or sugar. So we can go in and take a glance at what we have. Now, those things are also labeled. So you're saying, why would you need to label them if they're color-coded? Because blue is beans, but what's on the inside could be pinto beans, it could be black beans, so it's also going to get a label on it so we know what kind of bean is on the inside of that bucket. And that's the bulk storage system that we use. And this is what preppers most often talk about. But I want to talk to you about another much needed component in our survival or in our storage food system, and that's individual food storage. Let's set our bucket down. Now let's talk individual food storage. Along with our bulk storage, to be able to have the ability to create our own MREs, meals ready to eat, or individual food storage is a great addition to our system. So these bags are MRE size bags. They have the same heat seal and they have the same Ziploc seal as well. In this bag we have some jerky, hot jerky that we made. So we just rip it open. We're able to open it up and then eat an individual size portion. So I wouldn't want to seal jerky in a 5-gallon bucket, but this makes it easy to just throw in the dash of your truck or in your pack and just carry it with you. So this is a great way to store especially dehydrated foods. But let's think even beyond that. Let's talk about being able to create a full meal. So let's say that I use my freeze dryer. I make a huge pot of chili and I freeze dry some chili. And I put a portion of chili, a serving, inside the bag. Then I take some crackers, put them in a Ziploc bag so that they're protected from the chili and so that they're easy to remove and use. Throw in a spoon and then maybe a sweet treat of some kind. Seal that up, and then I have my own MRE at a fraction of the cost of the MREs that you buy from the store. Much cheaper than the Mountain House, and it's the food you know you like the taste of because it's the food you cook and you can flavor it the way you want to. So these MRE size bags from Wallaby that have the same Ziploc enclosure give you the freedom to be able to have some individual packaged meals. And then you take all of your individual packaged meals, you just put them in a tote with a snap-on lid, and they're protected from chewing things. They're protected from the elements by being inside the Mylar bag that are heat sealed. It's just a fantastic way to be able to add some diversity to your food storage system. Now, the Wallaby MREs are easy to go, especially if you have a heat sealer. All you do is you take the bag, you place it in, you push the heat sealer down. It gives you a great seal across the top. I'm going to drop links for everything that I've talked about down in the show notes below. Feel free to use those links to be able to go to the products or just go to the products, but start a food storage system right now. Start with just a bucket of rice. Start with just a bucket of beans, but start preparing for long-term storage in your life. I'm going to link a video right here that talks about the coming food shortages and how to protect yourself. So watch that video right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on that next video.